Yeah, yeah, go.
The art that is the most useless is actually the most useful. Yes, this is a paradox, but hear me out. Artists are increasingly under attack. People like to claim that art is useless, and if you respond, you the artist, by listing all sorts of societal downstream benefits of art, you are indeed correct, but you've fallen into their trap. Go further down this line of thinking, and you will find artificial intelligence to be your best and worst friend. For the past 100 years, a murmur, then a voice, and lately a scream has arisen from the mouths of humans worldwide. It travels through book pages, wires, and waves, and in everyone's ears it resounds, art is dead. And with it comes the terrifying echo, humanity is finished. I am here to fight this sad fate, but the reasons to give ear to this cry of despair are plenty. In our age, more and more, traditions that were undertaken out of respect for life are twisted for the sake of practical gain. What is the point of a tree if it doesn't add cultural value to the town? If it doesn't breathe oxygen into the atmosphere? There is no point to the tree. What is the point of a scientific experiment that doesn't drive the economy down the line? What is the point, indeed, of art if it does not benefit, in some measurable way, the cultural or practical hegemony of the power that funds the art? Indeed, our worldview tells us that we are merely bundles of atoms, ones that survived because of their inner selfishness and competitive edge over the ones that died. Altruism itself can be twisted to fit this mold. We are only altruistic because we are more competitive together against other groups. Or another way of thinking about this is altruism gives us reputation and is thus a good play in the game of life. This is the checkmate operated by our worldview on any worthwhile enterprise, that it reduces everything down to competition. No action is ever undertaken for the sake of the enjoyment of the action. We tell ourselves, even when I have motivation, because I enjoy the process, it is really because this action is beneficial to the species in some way, and therefore evolution has wired my brain to enjoy this action. But I don't really do the art for actual enjoyment. There must always be a hidden benefit to it, otherwise there's no point. How sad. Every meaning demeans, every virtuous aspiration cut down to the size of mere competition. But this is how we ourselves think, how our brothers, sisters, parents, and friends conduct judgment on us. Art is dead. This is the conclusion of this movement of the human mind, this worldview. Because at its roots, true art serves no purpose. True art lives outside of our conception of the game of life. I'll explain to you why this must be the case. Again, it must be your proudest freedom that your art is useless. If the purpose of art is utilitarian, then must we not use artificial intelligence to fulfill this positive practical goal? If the purpose of art is cultural strength, then must we not create tremendous competition for funding in art so that only those artists who serve the strength of their funders survive as artists? If the purpose of art is downstream philosophical breakthrough, leading to scientific breakthroughs, leading eventually to economic gain, then must we not all push the artists forward, put pressure on them, give them deadlines so that they give rise more quickly to such civilizational prowess? Of course, this is all absurd, and the example of artificial intelligence is extremely telling. If we are indeed mere bundles of atoms optimized for competitive gain, on a rock spinning out of control at the edge of the universe, then so is artificial intelligence. And thus there is no reason not to think that it can feel, communicate, and make art just as us. My experience in AI research has told me that when the robots start walking around, when they start crying, when they start emotionally communicating with us, we will all believe that they feel and can therefore make art. Except One thing that is added there is with increasingly greater technical proficiency and cognitive power than us. And there's no reason to think that AI cannot make art with this worldview. So there must be something wrong with this worldview. Otherwise, indeed, art is dead. And again comes the echo. Humanity is finished. This voice, the voice that says art is dead, some have called it the voice of capitalism, or of utilitarianism, or of materialism. And in more recent time, it is the voice of technology. But these are just words. The reality, believe it or not, is much, much worse. This distinction between the words and the reality is the key for art. The moment you speak about your art, you are joining the ranks of the utilitarians. And the natural conclusion of the utilitarian view is the replacement of the artist with artificial intelligence. But if you shut up and you accept the label of useless, now you're in a different game. Now you have complete freedom of action. Having lifted off your mind, body, and subconscious mind the constraints of survival and of self-justification, you have the leeway to make true art. Artists, listen, the brave thing is to do something that has no justification, to do something useless and absurd. If you are brave enough to make useless art, you will be the most useful of all artists. And keep in mind, this very demonstration that I have given you does not constitute any justification for art. Because if you give into that game, you will again find yourself making utilitarian art. All the art that has become famous in the past 100 years, abstract art, Picasso, all these people have been lost in the words and trying to make useful art, when in reality, only useless art